welcome back to my kitchen. Today I have a very special guest. It is my partner in crime, my life partner, my husband Efren.
Hello.
So he's going to help me today, and we are going to make a kale pizza. Unfortunately, Johnny's not here today. He will be missing out. He is having fun with his grandma, so we'll be alone for a couple days.
That works for me.
Okay. So today we are going to cook with kale, and kale is a great ingredient. It is very nutrient dense. Out of all the greens family, it has the highest amount of vitamin C. It has more vitamin C than mustard greens, chard, or even collard greens. It's also high in beta carotene and calcium and vitamin K. So it's a very nutrient dense vegetable that's great to add on. So that's why I'm going to use it for pizza today. Kind of gives your pizza, which is normally unhealthy or considered unhealthy, but you can always add ingredients to try to make something that's usually unhealthy healthy. So there we go. Kale's also known to help lower the bad cholesterol and increase the good cholesterol. So that's one thing that's a great benefit. And like I said, it's very dense, so when you cook it, out of all the kale, or out of all the greens, or the green family, it keeps its shape the most, so it doesn't get so withered and small, which is nice and also helpful when you make dishes. Say if you saute it, or you can add it with like meat, like ground turkey, or chicken, or any type of sauteed dish. And so one thing I think that's interesting, like if you're shopping in the store and you can't tell if it's like a collard green or a kale green, if you look actually at the kale itself, you can see that the ends are curly. So the curly ends is what makes it, I guess, kale. And if you have a home garden, so I'm not sure how many people do their own gardening. I hear it's pretty popular this year. You can grow kale all year round, which is really nice. So in the winter, you can still have your kale growing, and it is pretty resistant to frost. And what a lot of people say who grow it is that it actually tastes better after the frost. So when you cook it during the winter, like after it's frost, and in the spring it's still good. And then if you don't have a garden and you're going to buy it, it is always in season, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just go to the store, pick it up. It comes nicely in, the stalk. Or you can buy it washed and rinsed and pre-chopped, my favorite way, in the bag. Then you can just rinse it again, and it's ready to go. So I guess we can start with our kale pizza. What I did is I pre-made this dough. So this is homemade dough, which I'm so proud of. I made it in my bread maker. If you have one, or if you're interested in buying one, like they're great to have to make homemade fresh dough. And then I put it in the oven at 475 to kind of cook it for 5 minutes so that it's a little bit cooked, so when you make it with pizza, it's not going to be raw or too doughy.
It's really good.
Yes.
Really good.
Yes. And then what we'll do is we will start off with the kale. So I will let my lovely assistant do that. So you can, what you'll do first.
Okay.
Is we are going to add the garlic to this, and you can kind of like stir that in this. You cook the kale for 2 minutes, and then you add the garlic and you cook for additional minutes, and then what we'll add next is the chicken broth. So that looks perfect. So that one you kind of want to stir a little faster. So while he's doing that, I am going to make the sauce. So you can make your own sauce, sort of, instead of buying the jars of sauce. And it's a little healthier because you don't know what's in the jars, like preservatives and other different additives to make it have a longer shelf life. So in the food processor, what you're going to do is you're going to add tomato here. And then we have fresh basil. I'm going to add that. we will do a little bit of the olive oil. And then we will process this. This is kind of fun. Okay, so then what we can do now is, once we're done with the kale, we'll transfer it over to this bowl. So let's see the best way. I just put it here. Oh, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we are going to add a little bit more olive oil into the pan. I like to measure it so that we don't have too much.
How much are you adding?
So I just added 1 tablespoon. It's just so it doesn't burn and the pan doesn't get too dry. And then this is the olive oil, or this is the ground Italian sausage. And so then you just want to kind of like beat it up here. Yeah, and this is pre-cooked, so I already cooked that. You can't without. And now is the fun part. So this is the pizza. So this is our sauce. I guess it looks kind of like a salsa.
Yeah.
But it will be like a homemade pizza sauce, sort of. Okay. That will do the trick. The pizza dough that I have is small. The recipe calls for 1 pound of pizza dough, and so I believe it's probably like maybe 1/4 of it or less than half. So I'm not going to put everything on here. We'll just do a little bit at a time and see. So we'll just see. So here's the sauce. We're not using a lot of cheese, so we'll do that. We can save this, I guess. And then we do the kale. It looks pretty.
It does.
Yeah. So colorful. Colorful is so nice. Usually if the food is colorful, that means it's good for you. Especially if it's natural colors.
We just gotta convince our son that, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe, you know what? I wish he was here because he might really like this pizza.
Yeah.
Because he loves pizza. Super Mario is his favorite, and he loves pizza.
Yeah.
So does Mario. So if we just call this Super Mario pizza, then...
He might eat it.
Yeah. Or I guess it could be like Popeye pizza, kind of close to spinach. I don't know. And then sausage. You know, it's so hard getting little ones to eat different things, you know, instead of macaroni and cheese or...
Corn dogs.
Yes, corn dogs or pancakes. But I find that when you do let them help you cook, which they usually are interested in, it helps. Yep. And so then this is the goat cheese. I found a truffled goat cheese. I figure truffle is like mushroom, so let's see.
I think so.
Okay. So that there. And so I preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And then what we are going to do is we're going to put that in the oven for about 8 to 12 minutes. And you want to leave it in there so that the kale gets a little charred, but you don't want it too burnt.
I make myself useful, right?
Yes, very useful. Be careful not to burn your hand. Oh, top shelf. Yeah. Burn your hands there. Okay. And then we will put this in. We'll start our oven cooks pretty quickly. Like whenever I bake cookies or make a cake, I always use the lowest amount of time. So I'm going to put it in for 10 minutes.
Enjoying a resurgence in popularity in recent years, kale has some controversy between scientists about its exact origins. Kale is said to have originated in Asia Minor and Europe, where it has been eaten for almost 4,000 years. But others claim that kale was grown in Europe, especially in Greek and Roman lands, over 2,000 years ago. Some claim that up until the Middle Ages, kale was the most popular vegetable that was eaten. No matter its origins, kale arrived in the United States in the 1600s. Kale boasts a standing as one of the most nutrient-dense vegetables around, exceptionally high in vitamin K, vitamin A, and vitamin C. Kale also supplies nutrients like manganese, potassium, copper, calcium, vitamin B6, and magnesium. Kale is a source of antioxidants that help fight cancer, and zeaxanthin and lutein, along with vitamin A in kale, help fight degeneration of eyesight and against the formation of cataracts. Kale contains the flavonoids, camphorol, and quercetin that studies have shown to be helpful in lowering blood pressure, fighting inflammation, protecting the heart, combating depression, and in fighting viruses and cancer. Studies have also shown that cholesterol can be lowered by substances in kale that bind to the bile ducts and then prevent their reabsorption by the body. When its high water content and low amount of calories, kale can be a helpful addition to aid in losing weight. As a winter vegetable, kale grows well while withstanding cold temperatures and even frost. Encountering frost during its growing process is usually known to improve the flavor of kale. Farmers try to harvest kale after the first frost that converts some of the starches into sugars for better flavor. Previously known as pheasant's cabbage, kale was used by Greeks in ancient times to sober up and to fight hangovers. As a member of the cruciferous vegetable family, kale is related to collard greens, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage.
And so here is the pizza out of the oven, and it smells amazing, and it actually looks really good too. So that's it. My assistant had to leave, but he did all the important stuff. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you again for coming to my kitchen.